Hi everyone, this is Ashley with CT Marina Digitals. I am back with a tutorial for my foil balloon overlays for Photoshop. I have opened the image in Photoshop that I want to use. I have open a balloon just so I can show you how you can use the copy and paste method to put it on your image, but I'm going to be using Place Embedded, which is a different way to use them because I'm going to be doing multiple balloons for this one. But if you are just wanting to copy and paste, these are PNG transparent files, so they are already on a transparent background, so no playing around with the blending modes for these ones. I'm just going to select all, edit, copy, and edit and paste into the image. And now my light is falling on the balloon the same way that it is falling on the backdrop. This is one thing about these overlays is you can't just you don't really ever want to flip your background because you're going to change the features on your person, which side they're on. And with these foil balloons, you can't flip all of them. Like as you can see, if I'm like, oh, my light's coming from the right side, I can't just flip the balloon because then it's no longer going to be a 1. So these are, you should always shoot for keep the overlays or backdrops in mind when you're doing your session, but these are really important because you can't use them if the light's not coming from the right direction, or else it is not going to look realistic. So let's just say this was a 1-year-old session. We could use this balloon. So I guess we'll do this one. I have a string overlay in there as well. So I'm going to go up to File and Place Embedded. This is another way to apply the overlays. And then where's my string? Here's my string. I'm going to go ahead and it's nothing special. It's literally just a string, and you can use it as many times as you need to. I'm actually going to make it look like it's coming out of her hand here. So I'm going to move the string to her hand, and then I'm going to move the balloon over the string. I'm going to put it in my layers over the string too, so that it's covering that part of the balloon there. And then I'm just going to create a layer mask on the string. Grab a hard, I usually use soft in my tutorials, but this is going to be a hard brush, black hard brush at 100% opacity, and then just brush it off so it's within her hands there. And I think the shadows and everything on this balloon match this backdrop pretty good, but if you need to, you can add any adjustment layers to the balloon that you need. Say you need to up the brightness or contrast, you can add that layer. Make sure you click this button right here to create a clipping mask so you're only working on your balloon layer and not applying the adjustment to your whole image. And then you can make it brighter, or you can make it a little bit darker. That actually looks a little bit better. Maybe it was too bright before. Bring down the brightness a little bit. You can add some contrast. So yeah, I think that actually looks a little better than it was before. So yeah, you can play around with that. Another thing you can do, I'm going to go ahead and delete this real quick. Or actually, I'll keep it there so I can show you. If you're adding multiple adjustments to your balloon, you can just click back on your balloon, and then whatever adjustment layer you add, I'm going to add a hue saturation layer. It's going to, since you're already between your balloon layer and an adjustment layer that you clip to it, it's automatically going to clip that. If I would have tried to just add another adjustment on top of brightness and contrast, I would have had to keep clipping those. So I'm going to change the color of the balloon because this is probably a popular one that everybody's going to want to do. You don't always want them to be gold. So I'm going to do this hue saturation layer, and then I'm going to just come up, and you can slide your hue saturation layer to whatever you want the color of the balloon to be. Another way to do this, say you're not getting, you can play with your saturation too if you don't want it to be as saturated. Say you want it to be like a, I don't know, let's see, where's there a purple, but you don't want it to be such like a bright purple and more like a muted lavender. Just bring down your saturation, and you can get it that way. And then if you can play around with your brightness if you need it to be a little bit brighter or darker. I'm going to get rid of these real quick. Another way to change the color is you can just add another layer, a blank layer, create a clipping mask. You can either hold down Alt on your keyboard and click between these two layers, or you can right click and create clipping mask, change your blending mode to color, and then you can go over to your brush. I would use a soft brush for this one. Probably doesn't really matter, but I'm just used to doing that. And then say you wanted the balloon to match like a color on your backdrop, like if I wanted to do like kind of a sage green, You could just hold down Alt on your keyboard, select that color with your dropper, and then paint it over your balloon. Ta-da. Really pretty. Matches your backdrop. I like monochromatic stuff, so, and I know a lot of other photographers too, but that's another way. If the yellow's just a little off, or the gold's just a little off, and you have gold in your backdrop and you can't get it quite right with your hue saturation slider, try doing this way and selecting the gold off of what's on your backdrop and then painting it on. It's another way to do that. Okay, this pink would probably be really pretty too, or it's like a beige. Okay, so I'm gonna actually delete all of this, because this is actually a 2 session that I wanted to do the tutorial for, to show you how to add shadows to your balloons if you need to. Because I want to, so that one was like in front, kind of in focus with her. I want to do one in the background. I'm going to show you how to blend them and say, like, if you wanted to make it seem as though the balloons were like actually hanging on the backdrop. Okay, so I'm going to go up to File and Place Embedded. And I have, okay, I'll mention this now. These are all the different balloons there is. I have the whole alphabet. And then I have 0 to 9, so you can create whatever number you need to, because you can obviously use the balloons as many times as you need to. I have a few different ones, obviously for Cake Smash. One with the 1 on it. This one's pretty cool. And then this one, you can't see it too well, but it says 1 on it. And then I have a heart, and there's a set here where it already says 2, and there's a set where it already says 1. So I lied, actually. I'm not using multiple balloons. I'm just using this one. I forgot that I already put this one together for the tutorial. And there's actually even a balloon weight in here. So I can show you how to do that too, but I'm going to do this one first. And then there's exclamation points, money sign, just some other random things that are kind of popular for Cake Smashes and milestone sessions. So I'm going to grab my 2 balloons. Again, light's coming from the same direction, so that's good. And now move that up a little bit. If you need to, you might have to put it behind your subject. So if you're gonna do that, so I'll do that just to show you. So it's behind her hair. I'm going to come down to my background layer. I'm going to go to my quick selection tool and select subject. Make sure down here doesn't matter, because you just want to look where the balloons are going to be overlaid. So her hair up here is what matters. And then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that layer, create a layer mask, excuse me, and then I'm going to grab my overlay and put it in between. So now it's behind her hair. But obviously it's a lot sharper than the background. So I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to come up to File and Blur and Gaussian Blur. And I'm going to play around with my blur until I can get it to where it looks like it's the same depth as my backdrop. Okay, and that looks pretty good. So I'm going to press OK. You can also go into Filter. It does not always work. Photoshop is like really wonky when it comes to using this feature, but let me try. I'll go back. Filter, Camera Raw. And if you use the lens blur that they now have in here, press Apply. I don't know if it's gonna do it or not. Oh, it did. Okay. So I'm gonna bring this all the way, I don't remember which way it is, all the way this way. The only thing is you're not gonna be able to really see your background to kind of compare. But you can add like kind of different bokeh blur to it. I'm just going to press OK and see what we end up with here. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. But as you can see, it kind of added like, because the backdrop here has like very circular, sharp bokeh. And this, I wanted to kind of try to add it to that. But I'm going to do that, plus I'm going to add a little bit more Gaussian blur, because it's going to have sharp edges still. Okay. I'm going to go back because I actually don't like how that looked. But that is an option if you want to play around with that. Okay, that's good. All right, and then I'm going to zoom out real quick. And now, if this too, the balloons are on your backdrop, you obviously want to create a little bit of a shadow. So I'm just going to come down to my styles here, and I'm going to click that, and I'm going to do drop shadow. And then click this box right here, and I'm going to select a shadow on the banner here. That looks pretty good. Okay. And then I'm going to bring, it should already be on multiply. I'm going to bring my opacity all the way up. Make sure that your angle, so you want this little dial to be where your light's coming from. So bring it down just a little bit. My distance, I want to create a little bit of distance because these are thick balloons. I do nothing with the spread. And then you want to just do your size until it looks like it blends and matches the rest of the shadows on your banner. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to press OK. And as you can see, that went from looking really unrealistic to very realistic. So I would believe that this was actually on the backdrop. And again, if you want to change the colors, you can change the colors just how I did before. You just add those adjustment layers and create that clipping mask. So I'll do it real quick. Create hue saturation, create that clipping mask, and then drag your hue slider. Do like a green maybe and bring down the saturation a lot on that to try to get it to match. And you can I don't really play around with the lightness too much on this. I just go ahead and add another adjustment layer with my brightness and contrast and mess around with it that way. But this actually looks really pretty. I might just bring down the brightness on it a little bit and up the contrast. That looks really cute. But yeah, these are a really good way to obviously save money because you don't have to go out and buy foil balloons every single time you have a 2-year-old or a 1-year-old session, or any year-old, because you can use individual balloons to build that as well. So individual balloons will be the same exact thing. Like say you were trying to build, I'm going to get rid of all this. 3. If you had a 3-year-old session, it would just be the same. It would be place embedded. Where's my T? Here it is. I'm going crazy. Place that. I would place them all first to try to get them in line to where I wanted them. I'm not going to do all the letters. I'm just going to do a couple because that would take me forever. I would get them where I wanted them first. I'm going to select both of them. And then once I had them all in there, I would merge them together. And then I would add everything else. So then I would add the drop shadow, which is going to be the same in my case because I just did it. But if you're doing another editing session than you were before, you may need to tweak it a little bit. Since it's only on this part of her hair, I would just create a layer mask and use a small brush at 100% opacity and just brush it off of her hair there. And then I would do all my adjustment layers, add my blur, all that stuff. If you have letters that look a little different because they weren't all photographed together, so they're not all going to be exactly the same, you just might need to add a little bit of an adjustment to each individual one. None of them should be extremely off, but if they tilted even just a little bit, it's going to be a little bit different. The H looks just a little like it leaves a little bit more shadows in it, so I personally, it might not even bug anybody else, I would just add in a little bit more of a shadow or contrast or something. But I thought these were a pretty cool one to have in the shop because I know a lot of photographers do 1-year cake smashes and milestones. But if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. If you are a studio photographer, I would love for you to join my group on Facebook. I will link it in the description. If you want more free tutorials like this one, be sure to subscribe to be notified when I add new ones.